strap yourself in. This video is going to take a while. I talk about a lot of different things, or a lot of really similar things for a long time that I thought had some really interesting ideas or context and things behind them. So please be ready. Comment below with all of your thoughts on what I'm about to talk about in regards to Spock and Han Solo. Um, don't forget, I have a live stream tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be playing Among Us. You can join in. Please join the Discord for more information on that, and y'all have a great day. Hello, welcome to day 56 of our free-to-play farming guide, where we're following the APGains farming guide. I got some different things to talk about today. Stuff I don't think I've really talked about yet before. I'm hoping today to watch the Weird Al Yankovic movie. I think that would be, let's see, 2 people invited to chat. I'll look at those later. I think that it'll be funny. I'm excited to see it. Daniel Radcliffe is starring in the movie as Weird Al, and I think that's awesome. I think I've enjoyed everything that Daniel Radcliffe has been in. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, of course, and that's how I learned about, Daniel Radcliffe and, kind of knew him growing up. I knew about him as an actor growing up. And so I'm excited about it. Interesting thing to talk about with Daniel Radcliffe. He's made a couple different interviews now about how he doesn't want to lock himself into a contract to play a character for a long time anymore. He wants to play new, interesting characters that can be different every time he does a movie. So that way he's, you know, learning new acting abilities, having a different experience whenever he films something than the time before. He's not being typecasted, things like that. And I think, and I think it makes sense. He would know whether he would like or not like. If nobody else in Hollywood has the right to, has the experience to say, I don't want to be locked into a long contract, it would be him. He was Harry Potter for 15 years or so. I'm not sure exactly, but like 8 movies across a long time, a long period of time. He grew up playing Harry Potter, and he would know if he wants to do that again or not, because it was a long commitment for him. He was 10 or 11 years old, and by the time he was done, he was over 20, which I think is great for him as a child growing up to be able to get recognition for that long in such a high profile movie every couple years, throughout growing up. And, if he wants to be in a movie, he'll get to be in that movie. All he has to do is ask, and I would assume the people in charge are going to say yes, and they're going to be so happy to have such an actor with a name that spans the globe like he does. But he doesn't want to do long contracts anymore, because he doesn't want to be known as Harry Potter anymore, because Harry Potter is a character that he played practically the same way with the same emotions every day of his life. Level 67, that's awesome. 3 more Vader shards, so that's good. And he wants to do different things. He wants to do crazy things. If you've looked at his work after Harry Potter, it's crazy. He played a guy that was like cursed, grew devil horns, could like tell if people were lying or something. He played a guy that had 2 handguns, pistols, like stapled into his hands that he couldn't remove, and had to go on this journey of whatnot. He played Swiss Army Man, where he was alive but couldn't move his body really, and could like do crazy things. He's played some crazy roles since Harry Potter, and none of his characters have been similar to the last. They've all been different, and I think it's hilarious. But he's getting to do what he wants. He's getting to play roles that he thinks are interesting, that he thinks he would have fun doing, and would like to, and the stories he likes the stories. He did the work for, I'm gonna say, 15 years to get his name out there so far and, so well that he can do whatever he wants now. He can play whatever role that he wants to play now, and nobody's going to try and stop him, you know. And I think, the different interviews I've seen about the Weird Al movie, I think he's had a lot of fun with it. I think that he's really enjoyed it, and he's excited for people to see the movie. So I'm excited to sit down and watch it today. To talk about Star Wars, this is going to be an interesting topic. I just saw a video about it on YouTube. I just got finished watching it. And it was by a YouTube channel called Film Courageous, or Film Courage, I believe. And it was a guy talking about the respect shown to characters in film, or lack thereof. And he talked about how when Spock died, he had been playing Spock for decades. It had been a long time that he was Spock. Everyone knew him as Spock, and no one argued about it. And when he died, it was it was a scene that was very honorable to the character. He learned things about himself. We learned about himself about him as the character. We knew Spock doesn't have emotions, or very few emotions, since he is part human, half human. And he decides that he is going to sacrifice himself to save everyone on the Enterprise. And it's a very, very calm scene, very respectful scene that gives a lot of respect and honor to the character, and recognition that this is a sad moment, but this is very important to the story and important to the character. And in the video, the guy talking, he comments on how not just is the scene, the way that he dies and things like that, not only is that respectful to the character, it's respectful to the fans. It gave a lot of time for Spock and Jim to have a moment on either side of the glass door to comment and, say their last goodbyes, give their last few messages to each other, look each other in the eyes, put their hands on the glass together. It's very respectful scene to the characters, to not just Spock, but those that would want to say goodbye to him, those that have a close relationship with him. But it's also respectful to the fans who are going to be sad they're seeing Spock die. One of their heroes, one of the characters they've looked up to for years of their life as they've grown up, and now he's dying. It's very, respectful to everyone involved in the situation. Gives everyone their chance to kind of understand and kind of mourn what is happening. And not just that, it's all the mourning, but also it's a heroic death. It's a sacrificial death. It's a very powerful scene. But then he compares it and looks at The Force Awakens. And he looks at how Han Solo dies. It's just a few minutes long, and it shows, Han Solo meeting his son, Ben Solo, after years of separation. And there's a few words shared between the two. And then he's stabbed. We don't see where he's really stabbed. We just really see that he's stabbed with the lightsaber. And he falls down an endless pit, endless chasm. And then, there's a huge life or death fight. There's an escape from the planet of Ilum. And then there's just a couple moments where Leia hugs Rey. And it's the end of the movie. And it's really weird, because Rey's known Han for a couple days, maybe a couple days, maybe less. Leia has known Chewbacca for 20 years. Chewbacca has known Han for 30, 40 years. and nobody, there's no respect given to the fact that Chewbacca's best friend just died. Chewbacca's best friend was just murdered by Han's own son. Um, and no respect was given to that. And he talked about how weird, how disrespectful the scene was to the fans, as well as to the characters. But not just that, he fell down a large chasm. Think about the characters that you know in fiction that fall down an endless chasm. Darth Maul, Emperor Palpatine. I would also equate Hans Gruber falling off of the Nakatomi Plaza. I would say Saruman in Return of the King falling off of Orthanc. Orthanc. All of those characters, I'm gonna back out of this. I lost. All of those characters are villains, bad guys. You see the final blow. You see them being thrown off. You see them stabbed or sliced, and then they fall to their death off screen down an endless chasm. They were villains. They didn't have as much screen time as the heroes. We didn't care. I mean, we might have cared about them because we enjoy their portrayal or so, but they weren't the hero of the story that we love and respect and want to be when we grow up. And he talks about just how frustrating it was being someone who grew up loving Star Wars. And he said that something that, not being a father, I wouldn't think about. He said that that's not something, if he was watching all of Star Wars with his child, he would not watch episodes 1 through 6 and then go straight into 7. He wouldn't do it right away because they just got finished watching 3 movies about these people being the heroes, being a fun, happy family, having a great time, Han and Leia being together. They just defeated the war, and now you come to a new movie and Han's an old grumpy man. Han and Leia aren't together anymore. Han is killed by his son, falls down an empty chasm or an endless chasm. It's such a and I never thought about Han's death scene that much. I knew I didn't like it, but I never thought about all of the different implications of how it was handled and what that means. I never thought about it like this. And it makes sense. Thinking about it, at least to myself, I'm understanding like this does make sense because like filmmaking is partly a science. There is science behind it of, would people like this? Is this respectful to the fans? Is it respectful to the characters? Who is being hurt? How are your emotions supposed to feel during this scene? And I never thought about going directly from Return of the Jedi into the Force Awakens because that's not how I watched it, and I haven't watched Star Wars straight through 9 movies like that before. I've always just done either the trilogy, a trilogy, or 1 through 6. I've lost this, haven't I? It's just it's weird. Why would they treat the final 3, like the original 3 characters in such a poor way for the final 3 movies? Um um I mean, Han being killed by his own son, thrown down an endless chasm with a villain's death. Um Leia Leia, I feel like she needs her own video on how she was treated. I didn't like it. Um, I feel like they should have just chosen to let her die by Ben killing her on the capital ship when he blew up the room where she was, whatever it's called, the command room or something. Um, Luke being an old grumpy man and then just kind of disappearing all alone. He did get to say goodbye to Leia. They do give them one final scene together. But all three of the original characters were just treated so poorly by Lucasfilm. And I think it's funny. Kathleen Kennedy just had an interview recently where she talks about how fan service did not help the sequel trilogy. They, including a lot of fan service in the sequel trilogy, did not um, have the same reaction that they thought it would. And moving forward, they're not going to include as much fan service in their movies. And when I heard about her saying that, I just wanted to scream because there was little to no fan service in the sequel trilogy. Now, in Force Awakens, I would say there's kind of a lot of fan service in the Force Awakens, which was probably one of the best performing of the sequel movies, as well as the most had the best reaction from the fans. I would say majority of your fans like the Force Awakens. Last Jedi is 50-50, and I would say the Rise of Skywalker is probably about 50-50. But the Force Awakens, I feel like most people, at least appreciate it, enjoyed their viewing, and so they were going to go back and see the next one. Um, and it had the most fan service. But then you look at The Last Jedi, and it shows how much Rian Johnson disrespects Star Wars and the Star Wars fans. You look at The Rise of Skywalker, and it's just J.J. Abrams fighting against Rian Johnson. There was not fan service in the sequel trilogy. They were disrespecting the original characters the entire time. They were disrespecting the fans the entire time. If you want to see fan service, look at the Disney Plus series and how Dave Filoni treats Star Wars. He made a series about a space western. That was George Lucas's idea, was for a space western, for a western movie set in space. You look at what they did with the anime, which sure, anime isn't everyone's, what everyone wants or likes, but the first episode of the anime was a Kurosawa film set in space. That was one of George Lucas's big inspiration, was Kurosawa. I mean, if you look at Obi-Wan was full of some kind of fan service. Having Obi-Wan and Leia go on an adventure together, referencing this prequel trilogy, foreshadowing the sequel trilogy, calling out Quinlan Voss, finally putting his name in a I'm going to say film, but in video, in live action Star Wars. The sequel trilogy didn't have fan service. The sequel trilogy disrespected the fans and showed the fans that Lucasfilm doesn't care about them. We don't care. I mean, Rian Johnson went in. I saw an interview. Someone, maybe Degenerate J. It might have been Degenerate J. If you've seen him on YouTube, I enjoy his YouTube videos. Look him up. But he was talking about Rian Johnson. And in an interview from years ago, I don't even know how long ago, but long time ago, he said that if his goal would be to make a movie where only 50% of the viewers like the movie. He doesn't think he did a good job if everyone likes your movie. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. You want everyone to like you. You want to make a. Now, I could see that if you made a movie that everyone likes, did you make a challenging movie or a movie that makes you question things? And I could see something behind that. But a good movie, everyone likes. The Lord of the Rings are a good movie, and the only people I've met that didn't like Lord of the Rings are people who don't like an action adventure movie, um, or don't like a movie. I met someone who didn't like Lord of the Rings because she didn't like to watch a movie where the hero was in danger. Your main character was in danger. She didn't like to watch movies of danger, and I can understand that. If you don't like danger and you want to see, you prefer a comedy or a movie, that you know the danger isn't really physical threat. I could see that. I could understand that. But it wasn't that she thought it was a bad movie. It was that she didn't want to watch it because she doesn't like to watch movies of a physical danger for the hero. But I've never met somebody who thought The Lord of the Rings were a bad movie. I mean, they were nominated, I think I saw yesterday, for like 800 something awards and earned like 400 something of the awards. One of the only movie trilogies to do something like that. They're not bad movies, and they don't have 50-50 splits. I want to go back and watch Man of Steel. Um, but Man of Steel is not a good Superman movie, and it has nothing to do with Zack Snyder made him angry and dark, or too much building destroying, or Henry Cavill. It was nothing about that. It was that it had a 50-50 split. I would meet people that loved the movie. I would meet people that hate the movie, and it had a 50-50 split. And that was the movie that kind of helped me realize if your movie has a 50-50 split on people who like versus dislike it, it's not a great movie, because then like you portrayed the character in a way that, sure, some people like that. You did the movie in a way that some people like, but how many people are gonna just look at the money side of things? How many people are going to see the movie a second time? How many people are going to see the movie only once and not watch it? How many people are going to hear about it from their friends? Hear, oh, I don't like Superman like that, not go see it, and different things like that. And you want, I would say, at the very least, an 80-20 split on people who like versus dislike it. I really want to hear all your thoughts down below. Um, I really do. I want to hear a lot of your thoughts on all of that, because I know that was a multiple cuts, so I don't even know how long this video is going to be. I know it's going to be a long video, but I want to hear your thoughts on all that, because it's a lot of heavy stuff. It's a lot of criticism. I know it's a lot of criticism. Um, I make it. I make a daily video on playing a Star Wars video game every day, so I love Star Wars. I do love Star Wars, and um, to end this out, um, when I was young, I saw it in a commercial, but I did end up watching the episode of a show, and it had two brothers in the show, and I don't even, maybe it wasn't in the commercial. At the very least, I remember the episode. In the story, the brothers hurt each other's feelings. They have a fight. They don't talk. In the conclusion, they make amends. They come back together. And one of them said, I realized you can only be hurt this much by someone you truly love. And as a 9 or maybe 12-year-old, in that kind of age range, it made me realize, that's kind of true. If you're walking down the street, at the very least for a guy, I can at least talk about the guy side of things. If I'm walking down the street and someone says, your hair looks awful, I'll be like, okay, and keep walking. If my brother turned to me and said, "Your hair looks awful," first reaction, my feelings are going to be hurt. Um, your feelings are going to be hurt the most by things or people you truly care about, or you put weight in. You put stock in their opinions or what they do. Um, if a man, um, and so and I think about that. It's like if a movie comes out, if a Mortal Kombat movie comes out, and it's a bad Mortal Kombat movie, I'm not gonna be that upset about it. I've enjoyed some Mortal Kombat, but I don't love Mortal Kombat. I don't know the full story of the character. I haven't played hours upon hours of the games. Um, I know Mortal Kombat. I appreciate it. I think it's cool. And if a good Mortal Kombat movie comes out, I'll enjoy it. Which I did enjoy the one from 2020. Um, I did enjoy the movie, so okay. Um, but if a bad Halo show comes out, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be really upset because I really enjoy Halo. I know the Halo story. I've played hundreds of hours of the Halo games. I've read some of the Halo books. I really enjoy Halo. And I'm going to be hurt and upset if a bad Halo show comes out. And so, a 50-50 split in your movies. If someone doesn't like a Star Wars movie, I'll put some of the people are just people who saw it for the first time, didn't like it. But a lot of them are people who love Star Wars and hated the movie, which means it's not a good Star Wars movie. They've seen a good Star Wars movie. They've seen Empire Strikes Back. They've seen Revenge of the Sith. They know what good Star Wars can be. And now they're sitting through this and they're not happy. So I'm waiting for the day that Kathleen Kennedy is no longer in charge of Star Wars because I do not trust her in charge to be in charge of Star Wars. I do not trust her vision for Star Wars. I trust Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in charge of Star Wars. I feel like the two of them, especially Dave Filoni, he understands what Star Wars means to people. He understands what Star Wars meant to George Lucas, and he is such a big fan of Star Wars himself. Such a big fan of Star Wars himself. He keeps bringing in more and more things that he loved about Star Wars to the new canon from Legends. I'll try and end it there. I don't even know how long this video is. I know it's going to be one of my longer ones. But please comment down below. Sorry, my allergies are going bad today. Comment down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on everything I just said. Don't forget I'm live streaming today at 7 p.m. Eastern. Among Us, please download it, update it, make sure you're ready. We're going to have a ton of fun. And I will see you this evening. May the Force be with you.